Hey everyone, it's Michael from Notefolds, and I've got a card here that I've made with the Jar of Love stamp set and the coordinating dies. This really great Firefly set on a nice Starry Night background. And what is awesome about this Jar of Love stamp set is that not only do you get the 37 stamps, but the coordinating dies make it really easy to make a card like this. So with that Firefly, we've got a coordinating die for it, so you don't have to try to fussy cut around it. So if you don't have this Jar of Love stamp set or the dies, you can head over to my Stampin' Up website, which is notefolds.stampinup.net. And when you've got it, or if you've already got it, we can get started making this card. To make this card, for our base, we'll be using an 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of Night of Navy. For the jar, we'll be using a 3 inch by 2.5 inch piece of Whisper White. For the lid and the Firefly, we're going to be using a 2.5 inch by 2 inch piece of Whisper White. The inks that we'll be using are Wild Wasabi, Night of Navy, and Delightful Dijon. We're also going to be using the So Saffron marker to color in the fireflies. The stamps we'll be using are the medium jar, the lid, and the firefly. And then we'll also be using the corresponding dies, the medium jar, the lid, and the firefly. We'll begin by stamping the jar. So we have the medium jar stamp and our Night of Navy ink. We'll just get that nice and inked up. And right in the center of our 3 by 2.5 inch piece of Whisper White, we're going to stamp that jar image. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, because the next thing we're going to do is take the die and we're going to run this through the Big Shot. Now that we have the jar punched out, we're going to take our Wild Wasabi ink and our Firefly, and we're going to stamp 3 fireflies on the inside. And you want to put these kind of going at different angles so they look like they're just kind of fluttering around on the inside. And we'll do just one more. So now that we have those done, we're going to take our So Saffron marker and we're going to just color in the tail sections here so it looks like they're lighting up. And it's okay if you go a little bit outside the lines, because it will look like the fireflies are lighting up and lighting up this jar. So you can see that was a really easy thing to do, and it just adds a nice bit of depth to that. Now while we have our Wild Wasabi and our Firefly out, we're going to take our other piece of Whisper White, which was 2.5 by 2 inches, and this is where we're going to stamp our Firefly that's going to be outside of the jar. So we're just going to stamp that up toward the top, and then let's go ahead and color in that tail section. Now you can see that I also had brought over my Delightful Dijon and the lid stamp, because we're going to stamp that on the same piece of paper. So let's get that nice and inked up. And now what we'll do is we'll take the lid die and the Firefly die, and we'll run those through the Big Shot. And here's the lid and the Firefly after we've run them through the Big Shot. So I'm going to just put that Firefly to the side. I'm going to bring the jar back in. Now I've got the lid here. I've already put some adhesive on the back. And what you want to do is just seal up that jar so our fireflies can't get out. And you can just kind of line that up as best you can on top. And there we go. That looks great. Now here's the card base, the Night of Navy card base, and I've just folded that in half at 4 1/4 as per usual. And then I'm going to take my jar with the lid attached, and on the back I've already put some dimensionals, and this will just help it stand off. And we're going to place that roughly in the center here. And now what we'll do is we'll take the single firefly that's floating outside, and on the back of that I've also put a dimensional. And we'll just kind of put this up here toward the top, kind of flying away, waiting to be caught. And here's my completed card. You can see that I did add some additional embellishment here with the stickles, just to give that a nice Starry Night look. You've got that gold in there, really reflective, makes it look really nice. Well, I hope you enjoyed making this card with me today. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you've made this card or something similar, leave a comment below, show me a picture of what you've got. And then make sure to hit subscribe, because we do have other videos on how to make cards, including with this Jar of Love stamp set. And if you need to order anything, you can just head over to my Stampin' Up website, which is notefolds.stampinup.net. And until next time, I'll see you later.